Hello and welcome to another video. I thought today I'd do an update on the mods and upgrades that I've done on the car so far. So when I bought the car, it wasn't the most expensive XKR in the UK. It wasn't the cheapest either, but it was in reasonable condition, but I did know it needed a lot of work. So over a period of time I've repaired a lot of the little things that are wrong. But as I've gone, I've tried to improve things and change things to make it more personalised, something that makes it not stand out from the crowd, but be a little bit individual. I do like to keep my cars relatively original, and I don't like to do anything too outrageous. I always think it's nice when people put their own finishing touch on a car, and it just makes it more personalised and something slightly unique, I suppose. So I'll go around the inside and show you what I've changed, and I'll say why, and then we'll have a quick look on the outside as well. Some of the items that I mentioned, I've got other videos that I've done, and I'll put links in the description to those videos as well. So the first thing I did, I've changed all the interior bulbs to an LED bulb. So that's personal preference. The incandescent bulbs, they can be quite a yellow light, and although this is an older car, it's never going to be a modern car, but I quite like the touch of LEDs in modern cars, and I like the colour that it produces. So I haven't just changed the bulbs in the roof, I've also changed the lights that are down in the footwells as well, and it just gives a nicer touch. So the second upgrade I'm going to talk about on the interior is my solution for a cup holder. My car didn't come with cup holders originally, and I was thinking about various options to upgrade the centre armrest or somewhere else, just to install a cup holder to make it more usable and more modern, or rather more usable in a modern world. So the option I've come up with is, I found a gentleman on Instagram that actually supplies you refurbished centre armrests with cup holders, and the motifs at the bottom, you can actually choose whichever colour or whatever type you like. So they're really good. They're just a resin that's put on the bottom with a sticker that's underneath it. So I think that's a nice touch. So it doesn't intrude into the centre cubby either, which is nice. So I've got a video that I'll put in the description that gives a little bit more detail on these cup holders. The next thing I did, so the cigarette lighter that would sit under here, the electrical connector I think is very much outdated now. We're in the world with USB cables, so that was my next upgrade. So I've taken it out and just fitted a USB connector in there, so that creates me power without having any other converters that stick out a long way. So I think that's quite a neat upgrade. There's something I thought was important for the summer. I found that when I had the top down, I was getting blown around an awful lot, so I installed this wind deflector. That's in another video, and I've given a good demonstration there of how much of a difference it really makes. You can, with it down and effectively not there, you get blown around an awful lot. But when you decide to put the wind deflector up, it just reduces the amount you're blown around at 50-60 mile an hour and makes it an awful lot more comfortable and a nicer place to be. The next upgrade that I've done is very much going to be perhaps controversial to a lot of people. It's something that I wanted to do, and I can understand why people won't want to do this, but that's what I've done with the radio. So I've installed an aftermarket Alpine head unit. Now this doesn't play CDs or DVDs or anything, it is simply a Bluetooth unit that does radio. Does include digital audio as well, so DAB radio, it plays that. and it's my choice to do that. I can understand people want to keep it stock. I have got the original stock radio that if I ever sell the car, I can sell it and include the original radio, or perhaps even change it before I sell the car. But you can get aftermarket surrounds. It's the whole plastic that houses all of these items. You change the whole thing because the cutout is obviously incorrect to the original, but I think it looks quite neat and I quite like it. And something I do like on these radios, both the colour of the buttons and also the colour of the text, you can change. So if you notice, that changes from a green and it puts more red into it. If you click on that, you can then go over to green and you can reduce the amount of green. So you can create whatever colour you want. So what in fact you can do, you can mimic the colour that comes up behind all of these buttons, and also on the trip computer there you have a green text. So you can actually set this up so perhaps have full green text, get rid of the red. So you can choose to match the colour of the text on the radio with the colour of the text on there. Key colour, there you go. So you can change the key colour as well. So these key colours here, option 1, customise. Let's go with red, take the red completely away. You can see that's changed to a blue. You can do the same with the green, you can take that away. And the next colour there is blue, and you can reduce that colour as well. So you can end up with whatever colour screen you want, and it matches everything. So I quite like the fact that although the radio is not original, you can actually get it to match the colour of the vehicle inside and the other illuminations, so that really is quite cool. One of the modifications I had to do when I put the radio in, because it's got a DAB receiver in there as well as an FM receiver, I haven't put an additional aerial on the car, but of course it needs a DAB signal. I also didn't like the idea of putting a little aerial on the front windscreen either. I didn't like the look of that. So what I've opted to do with this car, I've actually put an inline, I think you call it an inline filter, into the aerial connector. So it utilises the original aerial on the car. Obviously you unplug the aerial from the back of the radio, you put this filter in, and then that filter splits the signal, puts one connector into the FM aerial and one connector into the DAB aerial, and that actually works quite well. The signal's not perfect, but it's just as good as it is on my VW T5 that has got the windscreen aerial. But in future, one of the upgrades I'm going to do, I've actually found a solution of how to fit an aerial on this car that's going to work properly. So as well as the stereo head unit, I've also changed the speakers that are in the car. And if I just show you, this is the tweeter grill. I just pulled it out, and as you can see, there's an aftermarket Pioneer tweeter in there. Now, the way that I fitted this in here, I've actually really just chopped the original speaker just to give me a good housing. There's two screws there, one there and one there, that hold the tweeter in place, and then effectively I cut the tweeter out. You can still see some of the wires here from the original tweeter, when of course that's the aftermarket speaker wire. But then I just used some super glue to super glue it in place, and it really does quite a neat job. So just pops back in there. So behind the radio there is a crossover that goes to the speakers, and that splits it, high level and low level signal. In a similar way, you might have seen another video on my T5 where I've changed the speakers on that one, and the box is very similar. So one cable runs effectively up to the tweeter, and the other one runs into the door down here. Last part of the speaker upgrade is here. So that's an under seat subwoofer made by Kenwood, but it just sits down really nicely down there. So I like that. That really enhances the sound. I have also changed the speakers in here. The speakers that I've changed, both at the back and at the front, they're the same size as the originals, so they just improve the sound. It's a much nicer sound, especially with the extra quality of the head unit. So on the outside I've made two changes. Changed the indicators to clear indicators, and also put a V8 badge above it. The indicators I think are the same as a Ford Mondeo, so they're really easy to get hold of, and the aftermarket clear indicators aren't particularly expensive. I think they're available from Adamesh for not a lot of money. The V8 badge I got from eBay. The tyre inflator dust cover. This is a genuine Jaguar item. I think F-types have them. So I thought that was really quite a nice touch, having the Union Jack or Union flag on there. And then we go underneath the bonnet. Now this is the top of the strut mount, and bearing in mind my car is a 2004, they didn't come with these covers, so I went onto the internet and I bought some second-hand covers. I just think it neatens it up really well, and also put these covers over the nuts. Just neatens it up and makes it look nicer. Is my choice of wiper blade. These are Champion wiper blade. They're sort of a hybrid design. So they're not exactly the same as a blade wiper. They're a bit like a traditional wiper, a lot flatter profile, and I personally like those. I think it makes them look really good. Another upgrade are these reflectors on the front and rear bumpers. I believe in the US there's actually lights behind these, but in the UK an orange reflector was usually fitted. I prefer the look of the lighter colour, so I opted to remove the other ones and fit these. I think these are from Adamesh. They just stick on, really easy to fit. And at the back I've fitted the Adamesh system, so that's got Adamesh tailpipes and also the stage 1 and 2 exhaust, so it sounds good and looks great. I opted for the twin pipe because the XKR of this year did have twin pipes, although they were slightly narrower. A lot of people opt for the single tailpipe. It's just personal choice. Single tailpipes definitely look great, and also that number plate plinth at the back, I've changed that, put a chrome effect one on from Adamesh. The XKR doesn't have too much chrome on, but I don't think it adds too much. Obviously you've got the chrome surround around the lights, which is original, so I think it complements it quite well, and other people might not agree. So when I refurbished the front suspension, my choice wasn't to stay with the original bushes, so the front suspension is completely polybushed. I've used quite a soft polybush. It's not the Powerflex polybushes that most people use. I've used a much softer, compliant material. So the theory behind that is it gives you a more original ride. I wasn't worried about enhancing the road holding of the car. I still wanted it to be a comfortable car, and that again, that's just my personal choice. A lot of people that would go for polybushes would want the enhanced performance and enhanced road holding, if you like. I wanted the durability of a polybush, but I didn't really want the harsh ride. So there's a couple of videos I've done on that, how I've changed them, etc. So they're quite interesting. So I hope you found this interesting. It's just a little recap of where I am with the upgrades. There's quite a few more to come. There's also a lot of work's going to be done on my car in the not too distant future. I'm going to be taking it to a body repair place, and I'm going to have the whole of the underside of the body or the chassis blasted, and any rust treated, any metal replaced as required, and then get it completely recoated and rust proofed. So that's something that's coming up soon. I think the car's going to disappear probably in late February, and I'm hoping the work will take between 1 and 2 months so I can get the car back on the road for the spring. But in the meantime, there's still a few jobs I want to do before then, and I'm actually hoping I might be able to take some video at the body shop, but I don't know whether they're going to let me do that or not. I do know they tend to send frequent updates by WhatsApp, so maybe I can share those online and just show the progress of how they're going and the work they've had to do. I think the car's not in bad condition underneath it. I think if I left it another couple of years it would be in bad condition, but as it is at the moment, there is some surface rust in the majority of places, and I'm hoping it is just surface rust and nothing deeper. I do know there's a couple of places need welding. The rear sills, for example, the outer sills, both of those need doing. But everywhere else, I'm hoping, perhaps with the exception of the floors, they might be wise to get them done. But everywhere else just looks like it's surface corrosion, and as long as I caught it early enough, then it shouldn't be a big deal. Depending how much work needs to be done, I'm going to get the car resprayed at the same time. The car looks quite tidy at the moment, but I think it's been resprayed previously and the lacquer just seemed really thin, so if I get any mild scratches and try and polish them out, the lacquer just comes away. We'll just go through the lacquer very quickly, so let's see how funds go on that one, because that's something I can defer to another year if I want to. So if you've enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, please share it, please subscribe, because I would like to get the channel growing a little bit more, and yeah, please comment, because I'm always interested to see what your comments are and what you think, especially of the modifications that I've done so far, and I'd be interested to hear any modifications you might suggest that I could do that perhaps I haven't thought about so far. So thank you for watching.